Hi, welcome to this fireside chat. My name's Rebecca Fenneman. I'm so happy today to be here with General Charlie Fletcher to talk about an exciting development in container technology. General Fletcher's over 40 years experience in transportation and supply chain optimization. He's developed logistics and IT systems for U.S. Transportation Command and for NATO. He directed U.S. government worldwide port operations and negotiated inland transportation distribution overseas for the Army. And he's the founder of Fletcher Consulting. Welcome, General Fletcher.
Thanks, Rebecca. Very happy to be here.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. I want to ask you about this project you're working on right now. I think it's called the Global Secure Shipping Project, and it's in the process of developing a smart ocean-going container. Can you tell me about the Global Secure Shipping Project? And what is a smart container?
Well, thanks, Rebecca. The project actually started as a result of the Department of Homeland Security's assessment of national security after 9/11. And they determined that there was a security threat posed by containers flowing into the United States. And they began a research in a way to improve the knowledge of what's in the containers and the ability to prevent people from getting into a container and placing something that would be a security threat to the United States. That started about a 15-year academic and evaluation of alternatives to produce a truly secure container. As a result of that, they awarded a contract to a group that was the University of Maine and their world-leading composite center, and Georgia Tech and all of the electronics expertise that they have. This project became Global Secure Shipping, and Global Secure Shipping is the company formed from the result of this contract with Department of Homeland Security to produce a truly secure container. And that container is called the Global Secure Container. And that's really what we wanted to talk about today. The container itself is built in Maine. It is the first prototypes have been built. The requirements of the contract are to demonstrate, develop, certify, test, and produce the container so that it is available to both government and commercial users. The requirements of the contract are that it be obviously secure, and it has six-sided security built around a mesh, a foil inside, a composite sides that look like a standard container but are not made of metal. They are made of composite and this mesh. And any hole greater than 1 inch immediately alarms and sends a signal back that there has been an intrusion in the protection. So it's truly six-sided protection. It is the objective is to make the panels 20 to 30% lighter weight than metal panels. It is longer lasting because it's made out of composites rather than steel. And it provides the ability for global tracking. Part of that global tracking allows it to be a platform for sensors for every different type of sensor that you can put inside a container. Light, temperature, heat, humidity, jostling, everything else. So it offers a number of advantages beyond just security. It now has produced a container that is both information secure and cargo secure, and reports it on a basis as often as a user would want to see that information.
So we've seen other devices that can be applied to standard steel shipping containers. This doesn't sound like that. So the sensors are integrated within the container itself. Am I understanding that correctly?
That's correct. It's purpose-built for intrusion reporting, six-sided security, and part of that is that it must have a communications capability built in. Because of that, the integration of sensors is very easy to do and configurable to anything that a customer would want. But the fact that it has extremely advanced battery technology means that it can report at whatever interval and at longer intervals or longer periods of time for battery life than any standard or any container that's on the market today.
Well, that sounds exciting. And it sounds like one piece of the puzzle, because as you know, there are many folks working on digitizing the entire supply chain. So this piece of hardware can integrate with port digitalization, vessel digital optimization. Is that the vision for the Global Secure Shipping Project, to eventually integrate into a complete supply chain system?
Absolutely. And although it was originally intended to really be a way to improve security at the ports, in the evolution of the focus of global secure supply chains, it has become a building block in the solution to a much broader integration of a single package that has both information and cargo security in one. And in that sense, we have found that as we began to socialize the capabilities of the container, we're finding that different communities see very different advantages to this. Fresh fruits and vegetables see it as an advantage because it's lighter weight and because it involves the technology at the onset of the composites that can have a higher R factor at less weight for the container, and therefore you can put more produce, more product inside the container. We see from the security community, they're very interested in integrating its capabilities into some of the other security alert and alarm capabilities that they have to provide a better way of utilizing the over-ocean capabilities in ways that today they can't because they don't have anything that resembles this. We found that those that want to secure weapons inside a facility can now take that facility, lock the doors, and put that on an ocean vessel, and they can move it to another location, and they can have essentially the same level of security. So as we have started the outreach to different communities, we find a number of different uses for that. We also see that these community, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was going to ask you about high value commodities that are being imported as well, and the value to perhaps the Customs and Border Protection inspection process to move those high value commodities through the port more quickly. Is that another possible benefit of this system?
Absolutely. And we have an active dialogue with Customs and Border Protection to demonstrate how this container could be fast-tracked in a way that exceeds the fast track that we see today through Customs and Border Protection. And in that sense, it's really an end-to-end solution that can improve the velocity by guaranteeing the security of the cargo that's moving. We also see that great interest in using this as a storage container, a warehouse, in addition to a transportation asset. So in that sense, we have partners in SEBA, CMA, that are already investigating how to use it in that way. And we see that this is really the future, that if you can improve the velocity while guaranteeing the security, that it has implications. We've talked to household goods players in the relocation industry. They're very interested because a damage in transit is now shared across everyone that touched that container. But we now can tell them exactly where the container was jostled so that they can identify which portion of that supply chain is held responsible for any damages. And we see other applications that we didn't anticipate when we started, but which those players in the supply chain are beginning to identify to us.
Well, that certainly is exciting, but I think you're not alone. I've read a little bit about the European Union development, especially trying to integrate port systems and using smart containers to do that as well. Can you tell us about what's going on, not only in the United States, but overseas as well in this kind of area?
Sure. We hit the market right at a time when the rest of the world was looking for a way to improve the information security and the cargo security. So in the EU and the UN, you have the Traxon project. You have similar projects going on in China. Within the United States, the Maritime Administration has their American Marine Highway. They have other initiatives that are ongoing to provide this integrated data platform built upon the assumption of security at the point of transmittal. And that's where we provide a unique solution of a box that is the combination of the improved security and the data security, both in terms of the validity of the data and the way that we are integrating that into all of the cybersecurity protocols that are ongoing. So all of that, Port of LA is a leader in this integration of information in these neutral platforms. So there's a lot of different players and interest all looking at ways to increase speed and increase security at the same time while making this a supply chain rather than a box or a port singular advantage. It's really expanding into something much larger, much greater, and of much greater potential value to all players.
Well, it certainly sounds like an important and key part of integrating all of this visibility and agility that everyone's talking about with digitalization. How tough is the container, and what stage are you at now? Have you begun to actually deploy this?
We have. It's ISO certified. It's gone through all of its ISO certification tests. We have it placarded. We have provided or are in the process of providing our first container to a government agency for their use for 6 months. Because it's government funded, we can hand receipt it literally to a government agency for their use. There are approximately 10 that have been produced. Some are going through testing at site, but we have a partnership with Maersk to do sea trials. SIVA CMA is also interested. Obviously, we have a government agency that's going to put it into use. And what we're looking for is for partners, both government and commercial, to use the container, to give us feedback, to help us understand what it's doing for them, what it needs to do for them, and then any modifications that we might need to make it more commercially viable as an alternative to a greater audience that would use it for whatever use they want that improves security and data transmission.
So, General Fletcher, we've heard a lot recently about container shortages and ramping up to build more containers. We know, generally speaking, your standard 20 and 40 foot dry container is built overseas. Where are you going to build the smart container? And can you tell us a little bit about the production?
Yeah, it's being built in Old Town, Maine. The production facility is stood up. It's scalable. It starts with a foil that is then surrounded by sheets of material with a resin poured into the mold, and then it is welded into a metal frame. So it has the rigidity, all the characteristics of your standard container today, with the additional capability of this six-sided security. So made in America, lighter weight, longer lasting, we think it's going to be a competitive item in the market once we complete the sea trials, validate the characteristics, go through the product improvement. We're now in the generation 1 of this. There's approximately 30 containers in that will be produced throughout this year. And then we will start the second generation, where we'll really focus on reducing the weight and some of the other feedback that we get from our customers on how to make this a more viable commercial and security alternative to a broad customer base. We're looking to 1,000 to 3,000 containers a year, but with the capability to scale that up.
That's terrific. Well, I have to thank you again for spending your time with us today. And I know we'll probably have some folks in the audience that'll be interested in learning more about the Global Secure Shipping Project. Thanks again, General Fletcher. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
And I would ask anyone interested to go to our website, globalsecureshipping.com. And we have a prototype in the Washington, D.C. area. If they're interested in seeing it, we can set up a demonstration. We've done this for the last 2 weeks. We've showed it to 65 to 70 representatives for a number of different companies, commercial activities, and government agencies. And we certainly would like to show it to any of the viewers of this introduction that we provided today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.